Hi, Bears. Hope everybody's doing good on this Labor Day weekend. A lot has happened since the last time I made a video. So, full disclosure, I packed up my vehicle, my Honda Element, put my cot in it, made it, the van life type of deal, and was headed to Virginia for an Army reunion. And just outside of Memphis, I hit a pothole and cracked the frame of the vehicle. So I might show you guys a picture. So long story short, that trip didn't end well. Had to limp back home. So I rigged up my motorcycle and I cut my hair and I shaved a biker goatee. And I made my way to Eureka Springs just for, a little private time. Because, I'd set it up where I was going to leave and Blaze was going to take over for a while. And he really wanted to do it alone for a few days to show the boss that he could. And I think that's good. So yeah, since I couldn't make it to Virginia for the Army reunion, I just decided the next best thing, come to Eureka Springs, which I could do a long video about this, and hopefully, I'll get some footage of some real Tartarian architecture, because it's surprising how much Tartaria and Bertaria overlap. And whereas Bertaria doesn't need all the old infrastructure from the old golden age of Christendom and Tartaria, we don't need that to rebuild, but at the same time, we still can appreciate great architecture. And there's a lot of it here in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. It's like they transplanted an ancient European town right into the middle of the mountains. And I don't know what the history is. I think the official story is some rich Swiss family just came here and decided that they were going to build Swiss town here, but I don't know what Swiss architecture looks like. These could be old Swiss buildings, but to me they're just ancient. And fun fact, one of the original Carnegie libraries that he built and distributed throughout the country is here in Eureka Springs. And a lot of them have been torn down or refurbished or built over. That's what happens to most Tartarian buildings. They don't get torn down because they were built too solid, so they get built over. But the one here is still here, and it's magnificent. You can see there's an ancient old part and then the new part, and then just all the stuff around it. It's really amazing. But that's all kind of beside the point. The big thing that happened is the day after I got back from not being able to get to Virginia to the Army reunion, word got around the internet that one of our guys in our platoon had killed himself. And sent a lot of ripples across the internet because he was one of those guys, there can be cliques in the military, but he was one of those guys that was just friends with everyone. And really one of the smartest and most positive guys. And the darkness caught up to him, which leaves all of us, his friends, with the question of, should we feel all the feelings that we feel about it? Should we avoid those feelings? Should we try to enter that mental space and encounter that darkness that seemed to have overcome him? Or do we avoid it at all costs? Or where do you fall in the middle? That's the problem veterans have, particularly infantry veterans. Because we all went overseas to see things we thought we would never get to see, and then ended up seeing them too clearly. And now we're all kind of seeking a pardon, or trying to remember what the original mission was. And the original mission was, if civilization and the military exists for any reason, it's for the preservation of the family. And so, Either he forgot the mission, or he didn't think that he would had a part to play in it anymore. Which brings up the subject of the Veterans Auxiliary Trail, which has been in my mind for the past almost 20 years. When we would be miserable in the mountains of Afghanistan, and we would talk about why we were there and what we had to go back to and what kind of lives we were going to try to build. And we were smart enough to know we couldn't put together a hippie commune, especially with a bunch of veterans, but we did kind of develop an idea of this auxiliary trail, this network of veterans who would support each other and ultimately support family, just be the extended family for each other. Because in as much as we suffered together for the same cause and trusted each other, we are family in that sense. And that just leads to the whole, the Veterans Auxiliary Trail is a lot of overlap with Beartaria and the Bear Trail. And eventually they'll come together. But yeah, that's the situation now. I'm in Eureka Springs. It's great here. It's Labor Day. There's so many bikers out and tourists. And it's a very liberal town. It's kind of like the Colorado or Boulder, Colorado of Arkansas, or like Asheville. It's a real hippie town. So everybody's wearing masks and glaring at each other. But that's a small price to pay. Walk down the street, see these great buildings. And then I'm going to continue on to my brother's house, who's another hour to the west of here. And hopefully get some good family time and some family footage for you. And show you his life, my older brother with his kids. But he's super liberal, so there should be a lot of good mask conversations. But yeah, that's the situation for now. Hopefully I'll get back to you soon. Stay safe. Keep crushing.